Hey world, so let's talk about today. Today's a very interesting day. Um, Today was a day of an enormous amount of clarity, an enormous amount of anxiety, all at the same time. Um, I started out the day so clear and just so in tune with my thoughts and message and what I wanted to share, right? And I did. I put it out there, and that's fine. About acceptance and allowing and releasing. For me, it's a multi-layered process, right? It comes with self-awareness. It comes with self-compassion. There's a multi-layered approach, mind, heart, and soul. Um, a lot of things I've held on to, I held on to in my heart and my soul. Let go of in my mind. These days, I'm focused really a lot on my reprogramming my thought process. Not, you know, not, I want to word this right. Not changing who I am, but changing how I communicate who I am. You know, I was always that guy that, played off my insecurities and made fun of myself because I was bullied as a kid. Um, so I always just became that guy, right, as a self-defense mechanism. If I make fun of myself, nobody else is going to make fun of me, yada, 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 right? At the end of the day, you start believing it, right? After a while of doing it, years and years of doing it. What it did was I ostracized myself. I put myself in a position where I would never allow anyone to get close. I would never allow anybody in. I would never allow anybody to get to the deepest parts of me because I was scared, right? I was terrified of myself. I always thought I was crazy. I always thought I was different. I always thought that I didn't fit in anywhere. And I didn't know who I was. I couldn't accept who I was. Part of this process is really accepting who you are. You know, I believe that everybody has the potential to be their best self, and everybody is their best self each day, right? That's just the reality. But I also believe that everybody has the ability to be their truest self, to rise above whatever comes across their life, to overcome circumstances, to to find their way through. And the question is, well, there's two questions, right? Do you have people in your life that you trust enough that will help you through that process? And then do you trust yourself enough? And do you find your value high enough that you feel you're worth it? Many times in my life, people have come into my life and tried to show me my value because I was always the one that never saw it. And it's ironic that in my circumstance currently is when somebody actually got through to me. This person that got through to me is so unique and so special to me. I can't and I refuse to put a label on it, right? It's so powerful to have a person like that in your life that you trust with every aspect of yourself and they trust you in return. I'm doing this class, Bridges to Bravery or Bravery to Bridges, or I think it's Bridges to Bravery, and with Sherry Lewick, and working on myself in very, very deep ways. My biggest issue my whole life, and the thing that I've wanted the most that I was never able to find, was romantic intimacy, right? Because I would never let anybody in. I don't think I ever had it, or if I did, it was very brief because I got scared and ran and pushed those people away, or that person, or whoever it might have been at that time. Looking back, um, to this day, there's only one person that I know that I let that close and that I didn't push away. It's the one thing that my heart, my soul, my mind desire more than anything. Um, this is really raw, by the way, so just roll with it, right? Because like my eyes are watering up, and this is a really sensitive topic. Um, it's it's hard for me to talk about because this is one of my deepest things that really eats away at me on a daily basis. When you find that at that level and you've never had it before, you can push it away, you can run from it, you can tell yourself it's not the right time, you can tell yourself um, that it's okay, that I don't want to risk losing it, I don't want to mess it up. But what I'm coming to realize is there is no right time. There is no perfect time. There never will be a perfect time. It never will be convenient. It will never be immediate. It will never be the easy choice, the easy option. Because there are some things in life that are worth overcoming things for. There's some things in life that you can't be scared of losing if you don't allow yourself to have it. It's ironic that I'm going into this today because I don't know why I am. Um, I was actually going to just keep pushing this back, but apparently my soul wants to talk about it. Um, intimacy to me is somebody who sees you for your truest self, somebody who accepts you with your flaws, accepts you with your strengths, lifts you up to a higher level, and you trust with every aspect of your life, no matter what it is, no matter how dark it is, no matter how great it is, no matter how anything it is, right? And having somebody in your life at that level is scary as shit, right? And it's easy to have your insecurities, your fears, your worth, your whatever it is get in the way. But to me, it's the one thing that I've yearned for my whole life. And it's the one thing that I always felt like was missing from me. And for years, it was I'm not worthy. For years, it was I'm never going to find it. For years, it was even if it presented themselves, I probably wouldn't even notice it. And maybe all that's true. I don't know. What I do know is whenever it presents itself, I won't run this time. I won't hide from it. I'm ready to accept it in whatever form it comes. And I'm not going to have expectations from it. This is this is probably the toughest subject I've talked about, but it's also one of the reasons I'm talking about it. I did this series or whatever it is for a reason. I I wanted to share what I'm going through as I'm doing it, right? And some of these days, I mean, I had a good day. I really did have a good day overall, you know. Um, but this is something that I'm sharing that's extremely raw, and extremely deep and extremely just emotional. I don't know how to handle it. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know if I'll ever be perfectly ready for it. What I do know is that I am able to have unconditional love. It's a gift. I have it. I give unconditional love. I'm starting to get that for myself. And I know that because of the self-forgiveness, the self-compassion, how self-aware I am, how when I'm making an let's say a slip up or a mistake, right? I don't think it's a mistake. It's a lesson. When I fall into old habits, I catch myself. I don't continue the trend like I used to. Finding that real, vulnerable, r- romantic intimacy is, to me, finding a person that will carry you when you're down, lift you up when you're up, and make your okay days great, right? Just because that person's in your life. And I guess intimacy in general to me has been a foreign subject because as many times as I've let people close, I've never really let them fully in out of fear, abandonment issues, insecurities. Yes, I'm more nervous and twitchy than normal just because, again, it's emotional. Um, Intimacy to me has been a fair weathered friend, something that I've always admired and wanted and never really allowed myself to have. Um, but I think I'm finding it, and I think I'm understanding it better, and I think I'm getting a grasp on it. But I also just don't know. As I continue through this process, and I'm helping other people go through their processes, and I'm doing the best I can to be, I don't want to say emotionally detached because I think that's not fair, um, but separating my emotions from their personal circumstance. I'm learning more about myself, and I'm seeing my inner strength and inner truth and unconditional love that I have for others in any type of relationship, platonic, friendship, brotherly, sisterly, whatever it might be, right? And as I'm doing that, I'm just absorbing it all. I'm just allowing it and learning and evolving daily. And as I'm helping others, I'm helping myself because it's showing me more sides of myself. I'm grasping things better. I'm understanding things better. I'm helping others heal and I'm healing as well. Is it a work I'm doing? All the work I'm doing, different work and lots of work. And as I continue down that path, I think I'm going to continue to see more about myself that maybe I never gave myself credit for. I know there's a lot I didn't give myself credit for. I know that there's a lot that I didn't accept that were positives about myself. But as I'm doing this and I'm getting more engaged and I'm being more involved and I'm building a stronger network of group of people around me that I love and trust and respect in my life, um, I'm I'm understanding my value and my worth better. I'm accepting my value and my worth, right? Like I talked about last night, I'm accepting the fact that I'm a really good father, right? Even under the worst circumstances that you can imagine. Um, I'm stepping up to the plate and I'm doing it for them and I'm doing it for myself and I'm working on myself so that I can be my best self for them as well as myself. But I want to show them that there's a better way to live. I want to show them that there's always hope. I want to show them that they can be anything if they put their mind to it. They can overcome anything. They can choose not to give up. As I was talking to somebody today, it slapped me in the face, right? Like things do sometimes, that this one person that reached out to me on the exact day that I wanted to give up, and then I didn't hear from the person for another couple months, right? It was very ironic how it all happened. It was very timely, very amazing in every way. And I'm so grateful for that person in my life every single day. I celebrate them. I honor them. I respect them. And I help them see their best self daily in return for them seeing me. This world is, there's so much chaos and pain in it that I think sometimes we've got to grab the moments and just cherish them, right? Like today was a really tough day. All three of them had meltdowns. I had a minor meltdown. Like the anxiety kicked in. I started getting really anxious, and I don't even think it was over anything. Um, but there were still moments in between that were amazing, right? You know, my son came up to me and gave me a hug out of nowhere just because he wanted a hug. My oldest always gives me hugs, so I don't know if she counts. But and then my youngest was just really attention needy today, which is fine, right? Because she needs the love because she got so neglected in so many ways. And I have no problem giving it to her, right? Like at moments I was frustrated just because I was anxious. I felt overwhelmed at the moment because there was just so much going on. Like all three of them were having mini meltdowns in their own way. I was having a mini meltdown just because I was overwhelmed. And that's when, my youngest just kept coming up to me and wanting to hug me. She wanted to heal me, I guess, right? She knew that I was off and wanted to be there for me and put herself aside and wanted to just be there. The amount of stuff that we learn from our kids is ridiculous. They see things in such a different light and they see such things in such a pure way than as adults we have jaded thoughts, jaded minds, what we've been through, what we've put ourselves through, that we just understand it differently. And we've been programmed to understand it differently. I want to show them that they can be their best self, they can help others, and make an impact, a positive impact on the world, because the world needs it more than ever. And the next generation, my kids' age and younger, are going to have a lot of work to do. Because me at 41, I'm not sure if my generation's going to do enough work to get it done. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to do my best to try. There's so much beauty in the world, and there's so much amazing. There's just so much love and peace and happiness. But we overlook it for the negative because that's what drives ratings. That's what drives news. That's what drives audience. But at the end of the day, each one of us just has to be our best self. And to me, I don't think that's a really complicated challenge. I think it needs to be done and it needs to be said. And I think that whatever's going on right now with the energies and the magnetic fields and the enormous shift that's going on globally, people are going to wake up. And when they wake up, they're going to start seeing things a lot different. Habits, behaviors, things that would always get in our way and shame ourselves and guilt ourselves and hold us back are now going to start changing. They're going to start disappearing. And at that point, it will open the door for us to be our best selves. Or our truest selves, sorry. Who's going to take that challenge? Who's going to take the challenge of being willing to flip their world upside down to be the best they can, to be their truest self, to make that positive impact? It's great that I'm doing this today, right? But I think the world needs more. I think the world needs leaders that are existing leaders that will stand up and say, I'm ready and I want to do this. You know, people might look at me and say, it's easy for you to do it because you don't have a choice. That's not true. You always have a choice. I could wallow. I could be miserable. I could just say the world hates me and the world sucks and this and that. But I'm refusing to do that today. I'm refusing to accept things the way they are for myself. I want to be better. I want to be my truest self. I want to lift myself up. I want to be able to do that so that I can do that for others. I want to show my kids that there's a better way so that they can be a better way if they choose. I can't force them. You can't force anyone. You can't force them to do one thing, force them to do a different thing. They're going to have their own choices. They have to make them. And I have to accept that. I can guide them. I can show them. I can open their eyes to things. But at the end of the day, everybody makes their own choice. I'm going to let everybody go at that note because I think that's a solid place to finish. And I think it says a lot. Everybody have a good night. Thank whoever's watching, and I appreciate you.